Check this out. This is a wiring diagram for a power distribution for a 2001 Chevrolet Silverado. Well, why are we looking at 5 pages of wiring diagram right here? Well, we are looking at an aftermarket wiring diagram today specifically for the fuel injectors we are going to take a look at. So I'm going to teach you how to break this down. For our fuel injectors, this is actually pretty straightforward. They're right here, and they're all just on this page. So what is the advantage of using an aftermarket wiring diagram that looks big and confusing like this, as opposed to a factory diagram that looks like this and is a little bit easier to kind of stomach because there's a lot less going on there? Well, this is really nice and straight to the point. Fuel injector, control, power. Cool. Something that you may miss on this is what are other interconnected systems. Not talking specifically just on our fuel injectors, but what I like about our aftermarket wiring diagrams is that we have our fuel injectors, we have a wire to a BCM, we've got all kinds of other different modules and components. So when you pull codes from a vehicle, if we're looking at, assuming because we're looking at our fuel injectors, we just have a fuel injector code, or we have a fuel injector code that has triggered our interest in checking out the wiring diagram to our injectors. What if we have other codes that may seemingly be unrelated? Ran into this a long time ago on a car that had a code for an EGR valve and an oxygen sensor. Okay, no big deal. If I had pulled up the wiring diagram like this, I would have been able to see the splice on that particular vehicle for the ground. They shared a ground. It had a bad ground. That's all that it needed. So every now and again, by reading through one of these wiring diagrams, you will be able to see when you have multiple codes that there is a common ground point that can cause both of those codes or multiple codes, and it can solve an issue that looks really, really big very simply. So how do we break this down and simplify this to make this look more like this, but in our heads? Let's have a look. So first things first, scan the vehicle, check the codes. If we only have fuel injector codes, pretty straightforward, hopefully, and we can just look at this wiring diagram. However, if we have multiple codes, that's where these shine. Let's just break down our fuel injector portion of this circuit for now, and you can pop into one of my other videos, check out my other wiring diagram videos to get a little bit more information on other types of circuits. So where do you want to start? And that kind of just depends on the particular vehicle, the particular circuit that you're looking at. Sometimes it's easier to start on the power side, sometimes it's easier to start on the ground side. There's really not a wrong answer. In this particular case, well, you know what? Let's see here. I have on my injectors pink wire, 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 pink wire. And then I have a bunch of other different colors of wires. So typical fuel injectors are going to operate. They're going to have a 12 volt power at all times. As soon as you turn the key on, typically you'll have that 12 volt power source. Some vehicles a little bit different. You might have to be cranking the vehicle running, but key on, 12 volt power, constant supply. And then the fuel injectors are controlled from the ground side of the fuel injector. So without even looking at the wiring diagram, if we're just on the vehicle, look at the wire colors. We got 2 different wires to each injector. The wire color that pink, the wire color that's the same on each injector, typically going to be your power source. And then you're going to have a pulsed ground. Okay, so if we just trace those pink wires back and up, we go that way and that way, and there you go. Oh, look, there's a splice there. That pink wire comes back down. Cool. From here, we go up. Look, another splice. So that part is pretty straightforward. And in testing these on your vehicle, TestLight is a fantastic tool. You can use a multimeter to make sure that you have your 12 volts there, but be aware that a multimeter does not load up the circuit. So I like a TestLight. It doesn't use quite as much voltage, or almost as much amperage, I'm sorry, as what a fuel injector uses. But if the wire is compromised, you may see 12 volts, but as soon as you put any type of load on that circuit, it's not going to be able to allow the electrons to flow. You won't get the amperage flow. So TestLight is a fantastic tool, and that's typically one of the first ones that I grab for looking at fuel injectors. Oscilloscope, as always, I love my scopes. Oscilloscope works fantastic as well. So it looks like for all 8 injectors, we have just traced our powers. No big deal. So we will see here that we have fuses. And it looks like one fuse that controls 4 injectors, or provides the power protection for 4 of our injectors. So if we had a code for, one bank of injectors is out, we may just have a blown fuse. But why did the fuse blow? And then, you know what else is kind of cool here? So why did the fuse blow? I just asked that. Well, what's this wire here? So on the same fuse, I have another pink wire that goes off over this way. So what does that say there? 27. And then if we look at the diagram part 2, 27, that keeps running over down this way. What number are we over here? 19. 19. Pink wire. Now it becomes 26. And over here, 26. Okay, I have a little black dot, and then that comes down to, what is this? My ignition coil. And then this dotted line right here indicates that this wire, and this wire are all spliced together. But they just draw it out that way to show that the splice is in one point. There's not a splice there, wire splice, wire splice. They're all spliced together in the same spot. That's what that little dotted line right there means. Where does this continue to go? Over here. Coil. And it looks like that other wire, which we didn't follow back, but it was running next to it the whole time, does the same thing. So what does that tell us? Why is this beneficial to look at this large complex diagram instead of this simple one? Well, if we keep popping these fuses, we can see here one fuse says injector B on that. This one says injector A. It covers 4 of our injectors, and it goes in the power distribution schematics. It goes somewhere else, but we don't see where. This aftermarket diagram gives us more information that it goes to the coils. So if we kept in this theoretical situation having a fuse that's blowing because it has a short circuit, so the fuse opens up, it pops, we might have a problem with our fuel injectors, or we could have a problem with our ignition coils. So this just gives us a little bit more information that allows us to hopefully make the right call the first time. Or if we have a vehicle that, it's being a little difficult and the problem is not exactly straightforward and showing itself, that might give us another piece of the puzzle that we need. Okay, so we've traced our powers here. Well, what about our grounds? Just right back to the computer. Our grounds on most modern vehicles, and when I say modern, I mean anything probably within the last, 20, 25 years. Even when the fuel injection started coming out in the 80s, that was when you'd have different control systems. So when injection initially came out, you essentially just had an electronic carburetor, and then you could have the whole engine, all fuel injectors fired at the same time. So group fired injectors. And then when processing power got a little bit better, you could have bank fired. So it'd fire one bank, then the other, then one, then the other. And then they do pair fire, and now sequential fired is kind of, that's what, it's a lot more efficient. It's better for fuel economy and emissions. And probably the last 20-ish years, maybe a little bit longer, that's what you'll see. In this particular case, that's what we have on this 2001 Silverado. So what does that mean? That means each ground runs back to the PCM, and then the PCM turns it on and off. So in testing that on a fuel injector, let me grab an injector. Here, I like this one. It shows us deep down in there that this is the power side. So we have our ground on this side, and then power is over here. With the constant power supply. Now, the internals of an injector, we should cut one of these in half and see what they look like. But they basically are a coil of wires. They are a winding, they are a solenoid. Well, what's the cool thing about a coil? Coil doesn't have a break in it. It's connected. So if we were to apply power at one side and we do not have our ground switch closed, so this would be internal to the PCM. I'm simplifying this for the illustration purposes. we have power coming in on this side. That power is going to run through the whole coil, and it is going to be present right here. So injector is not on. We would find, if we took our test light or a multimeter, we would find power on the ground side of the coil. That's kind of interesting. Why is that important? Well, what would happen if we had power there? Or let's even say maybe there's a break in this wire, so even when it's closed, there's power over here. Well, what does that indicate to us? A little bit about circuit behavior is that we're expecting to have power when we don't have a ground. So if I had power on this side of the switch, which this is driven inside the computer, so not, this circuit's probably a bad example for that, but if we had power where we're supposed to have a ground, a lot of people go straight for, they think there's a short. Well, what happens when there's a short circuit? In a short circuit, specifically a power that's shorted to a ground, your resistance goes down, so your amperage goes up, and then it opens the fuse, and then it becomes an open circuit. So if you ever find power where there's not supposed to be power, pay attention, one of two things. Well, I guess one things. There's an open ground. So in this case, finding power right at the injector, when it's all plugged in, of course, we would expect to find power here when the injector's not turned on. If we had power with the injector turned on one of the ground wires, we know that we have an open ground somewhere. Hope that makes sense. We'll find out when I edit this if that makes any sense at all. Maybe. So this one here is on our power. This one here, back probed at the fuel injector on our ground. Key is currently on, engine not running. We have 12.25 volts on our power and 12.25 on our ground. And this is the way that that should work when the engine is off with the key on, because our injectors are a coil. So what does that mean? That means that that's not an open circuit right there. The open is in the driver on the ground side. So we should have power on both sides of that wire. So that's a pretty cool breakdown of that diagram right there. Let's take a look at the factory diagram. In my opinion, again, I always go with the aftermarket diagrams. Sometimes there's errors there, so some people tell you use the OE because the OEs are more reliable. Are they? Maybe. I've also found mistakes in the wiring diagrams here. But something I do like with the OE diagram, check this out. I like it shows you a little bit more information inside the computer. So we can see right here where our ground side switch is. In different wiring diagrams, they show you different stuff, but I really like, sometimes you'll see resistors on the OE ones in the modules and different components that they don't show on the aftermarket. So if you have anything that, you know, your basic problems for most of the time, grab any wiring diagram you prefer. But if you're getting into the more complex diagnostics, I'd highly recommend take both wiring diagrams and print them out and use them both, because you might find something in one that you don't see in the other. So if we wanted to do the same thing on this one, let's just trace this out. Well, we have a ground here inside our computer. This is a low side driver. When you have a ground controlled by the PCM, that's considered a low side driver. If it was a power controlled by the PCM, that would be considered a high side driver. So when the driver is closed, we would find ground going up to our fuel injector and then power on the other side. However, in this particular case, as is drawn, if we were testing this when the injector is not powered up, when I say powered up, I mean it's not spraying fuel, we would have power. Let's see, we're hot and run and start. Our power would run through this wire, through said fuse, to our fuel injector, and it's going to run through the injector and be present over here on this wire going right back to the PCM until when? Until that switch closes. Once that switch closes, now our injector is going to energize. That's a magnetic field. And when that injector energizes, we would now have ground on this side. The injector magnetic field builds up, the pintle opens, and fuel gets sprayed. And just for the sake of completing everything, let's do that. It does definitely look a lot simpler, and it's easier to follow. It's a little cleaner diagram when you're just looking at your powers and your grounds of a OE diagram, that's for sure. Although sometimes if you're trying to look at more advanced stuff, and you might need to print off like 20 different OE wiring diagrams compared to one multi-page aftermarket. So, I mean, you work with whatever works for you. some of the OEs now, especially if you've got access to the actual OE information, not just the OE diagrams through a aftermarket service information like Mitchell's or ShopKey, On Demand, any of those things, Pro Demand, All Data. Wow, are some of the new ones really good, where right on the computer you can click on the different components and they bring you right to the locations. But for the most part and for a lot of them, this is kind of a good way to go, especially if you're in the aftermarket, and it will really help you understand how the circuits work and how they break down. So, did this help you? Did it not? Please let me know in the comments, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching.